Hello friends, let's continue with our series. For the lecture number 17, we will be learning about K nearest neighbors, which is the KNN algorithm. Alright, let's begin. So what is KNN? KNN stands for K nearest neighbors, right? It's a lazy learning algorithm, meaning it doesn't actually learn during training. Instead, it memorizes the data and waits until it needs to predict something. So it's basically a lazy learning algorithm, which means it's a slow algorithm and it learns at a slow rate, or it basically doesn't really learn anything. And instead of learning, it memorizes the data and waits until it needs to predict something, right? So how it works: when a new data point comes in, the KNN checks the k closest points to it from the training set. It uses a distance metric like Euclidean or Manhattan to measure closeness. Then it looks at the labels of those k neighbors and picks the most common label for classification or average value, which is the regression, right? So uh, as you can see, like, this waits for a new data point. When this data point arrives, the KNN algorithm checks for the k closest points, right? K could be any integer. It looks for k closest points nearest to it from the training set. Once it finds them, it uses a distance metric like Euclidean or Manhattan. These are the names of some algorithms. You might already be familiar with Euclidean. And using this, it measures closeness of these points. Then after that, it looks at the labels of those k neighbors, right? The labeling of these neighbors that were closest, and picks the most common label, right? The one which is like most occurring in the closest neighbors, right? For classification, and average value for regression. So that's how it works. So why do we use it? It is very simple and intuitive, which means it is great for small data sets. No actual training time, just plug in and run. So as you can already understand, there is no training it. This doesn't learn while training. This runs while running. This trains while running. Once you run it, it starts the training, which is not actually training, but it just runs, and you know how it works. It can also handle multi-class classification easily, which means if the classification is of multiple class level, it can handle that easily. So where it is used? It is used in recommendation systems. People similar to you know, like recommendation of movies, games, food, and that kind of stuff. It is also used in handwriting and digit recognition to identify the handwriting and the digit and the specifications and the specific values regarding that, and for medical diagnosis, including finding patients with similar symptoms. And finally, it has some limitations, which includes slow prediction on large data sets. As you can understand, it has to search the entire database for each new point. It is sensitive to noise and irrelevant features. It doesn't work well with high dimensional data unless you reduce it first. So that were some points about the KNN algorithm. I hope you were able to understand, and thank you for watching.